Hello students, again I welcome you all for my new video, and today in this video I'm going to give you the explanation of the chapter On the Face of It by Susan Hill. Now before starting with the explanation of the chapter, let's talk about the author Susan Hill. Susan Hill is an English author of fiction and non-fiction works. Her novels include The Woman in Black, The Mist in the Mirror, and I Am the King of the Castle, for which she received the Somerset Maugham Award in 1971. Theme of the story. The play deals with the sense of loss, a sense of isolation, and how to overcome it. The actual pain caused by a physical impairment is often much less than the sense of alienation felt by the person. The title On the Face of It is used to mean that something seems to be good, true, etc. But that needs to be changed when you knew more about it. Introduction of the chapter. The story is about a teenage boy, Derry, who has a burnt face, and Mr. Lamb, who is a disabled old man with an artificial leg made of tin. Derry accidentally enters his garden so that he can hide himself from people who hate him because of his ugly face. Mr. Lamb not only welcomes him in his garden but also encourages him to lead a normal life, leaving behind his past. Message of the story. The message woven into the plot of the play is that scars do not change a person and handicaps must be accepted by individuals and society. With a burned face, Denny had to face discrimination because of which he had turned pessimistic. He had started hating being around people and had concluded that everyone hated him too because of his face. Then Derry meets Mr. Lamb, a person who looks at things with a half full perspective. He points out that how one green plant is considered desirable and how the other weeds is undesirable, and how the sound made by the bees may be noise for some and music to others. He teaches Denny not to look at his burnt face as a disability and try to overcome it just as Mr. Lamb had dealt with his tin leg. The moral is very loud and clear that people who are physically disabled should not be isolated. We should help them expand their social interactions and help them fight loneliness, depressions, and disappointment. Mr. Lamb tells Derry that it all depends upon people's individual perceptions. A thing is a beauty for one, while that beauty may be a beast for others. Now let's begin with the summary of the chapter. The story begins with a teenage boy entering a garden. His face is burned on one side due to an accident when acid fell on half of his face. He has gone there to hide himself as he is afraid of facing people. He fears being teased by others for having such a face, but when he enters, he finds someone's already present there. He tries to leave the place, but he is stopped by the old men. Mr. Lamb, the owner of the garden, Derry feels guilty for entering the garden without permission. Mr. Lamb welcomes him and tells him not to leave just because of his presence. Derry wants to leave as he thinks people don't like his face and moreover they get afraid of his looks. But Mr. Lamb insists him to stay there, and they enter into a conversation that how Derry is not liked by anyone and how he hates people behaving like this with him. Mr. Lamb tries to console him and he tells him that he has a thin leg and kids make fun of him. Still, he is not depressed and enjoys his life. They both talk about various things and thus lead a revelations of Terry's fear, depression, and hatred about his being in such condition. But Mr. Lamb keeps on telling him to think of the positive things. Soon they become friends, and Mr. Lamb asks him to help him in plucking the crab apples of his garden, and Derry tells him that he had come too far from his home and had not told anything about this to his mother. Mr. Lamb tells him to take permission from his mother. Derry finds it difficult, and this leads to a small quarrel between both of them. At last, Derry tells him that he would may come back after taking his mother's permission. His mother does not want him to go back, but he comes back again to fulfill his promise. Finally, meanwhile, Mr. Lamb climbs the ladder on his own to pluck the crab apples, as he was sure that Derry would not return. He was disabled and it was difficult for him to climb. Mr. Lamb falls from his ladder and dies. Derry, on the other hand, returns to the gold garden to help him. When he enters the garden, he sees Mr. Lamb lying on the ground. Derry tries hard to make him move but did not get any response from him. Finally, he comes to know that he is dead and starts crying. So students, here we finishes with the explanation of the chapter on the face of it. I hope the chapter is clear. Hope you like my video. Thank you for watching my video.